Welcome to this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I'm your host, Real Gerald Quinn. We're recording this on a Wednesday as we get ready for game one of the NBA Finals. Knicks Spurs, seemingly been forever since the Knicks played. They would have had basically almost like a full eight to 9 days off. I'm sure they're hoping not to experience some of the some of the level of play that they experienced versus Cleveland in game one, where they had to pull off a miracle 22-point comeback to take out Cleveland that would end up leading to a sweep. Taking on, of course, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs coming off this incredible, epic 7-game war. I guess you're vanquishing the formerly former champion Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games on their home floor. We'll talk more about that series in OKC later on. But when you look at this series, first of all, before a winner is decided in this series, the winner all around has to be the NBA. The NBA this season has when you it's really been one of the more remarkable NBA seasons in recent memory. When you consider the amount of toxic shit that's happened in the NBA, the tanking situation, the gambling, changing of networks, um, all of that. But when you look at the what's transpired, you have you get 5 game 7s in the playoffs. You get the Knicks in the finals. You get Victor Wembanyama, this generational talent in the finals. Um, you get some of the best ratings the NBA has seen in 2 decades. Not only through the playoffs, through the regular season, the NBA has absolutely won this year. As far as not even a question that the NBA has been the big winner this year, in spite of everything that's going on. Uh, like I said, with the tanking, with the lottery system, with all that, with everything that's going on, the NBA is in like we can complain about the NBA, we can complain about flopping, we can complain about all this other shit, like I said, the tanking and what have you. But right now, if you're Adam Silver, if you are if you're an owner of an NBA team, you have to be smiling from ear to ear, considering the fact that this has a chance to be one of the highest rated NBA series in probably 25 to 30 years. This will be the highest NBA rated series since I'll predict that this will be the highest rated NBA playoff series, a final series since Michael Jordan in '98 with the Bulls versus Jazz. I predict that right here, right now. So the NBA has won this season in a major in a big time way to the point where the NFL actually, I thought, responded to the NBA's um from a schedule standpoint by taking that Thanksgiving Eve game. If you remember this past season, the NBA played the NBA there were 3 NBA games on Thanksgiving Eve. They did great ratings. The games were great. The NFL was like, "No, we'll take that." So I think that was part of a direct response. Part of it because the NFL is greedy as fuck, but the other part of it is the is what the NBA was able to do with the ratings and with the ratings, and it's still a competition. Like it's still the NFL doesn't want anyone even coming close to them as far as popularity in sport. And the next closest to sport by far is the NBA. So this should be a tremendous series. Um, this was the best possible matchup when you look at not only the narratives, but the matchup as far as on the court will be fascinating as well. And again, listen, I'm not one of these people who's anti OKC, but I did not want to hear 2 weeks of people shitting on OKC and talking about flopping and all that nonsense. So that's I mean I was rooting for the Spurs to win anyway because I wanted to see Wembanyama in the finals, but I also did not want to again hear 2 weeks again of this tired and beaten down narrative about the Oklahoma City Thunder and how they play basketball. Like I think the media has pretty much worn that narrative, that narrative out, like ridiculously have worn it out. As far as the series goes, I think this will be I think it has a potential to be a great series. The Knicks absolutely match up to me perfectly with the Spurs. They have big wings they have big wings with with the likes of Hart, Bridges, and Anunoby, who will not be pushed around by San Antonio's guards. San Antonio's guards, Harper, Castle, and Harper, and even the other wings like Vassell and Champagny, Keldon Johnson. Those guys are physical. Maybe Vassell not to the extent, but Castle, Harper, Keldon Johnson, Champagny absolutely have just muscled other teams' guards, and sometimes some of the teams' big men, Chet Holmgren, in the paint. That will not be the case against the New York Knicks. And you're not Anunoby is 6'8", 6'7", 240. You're not pushing him around. Hart, those guys, Mikal Bridges, those guys are again 6'5", 6'7", 6'8". They're not going to be able to handle the Knicks with that type of physicality. Um, so that's something that the Thunder did not have as far as they had like maybe two guys like that in Lou Dort and Caruso. One of them you couldn't play on the floor because he couldn't make a shot in Lou Dort. Otherwise, San Antonio against OKC had a clear physical advantage. The Knicks come in shooting the ball lights out. The Knicks come in. We know what the Knicks can do on the offensive glass with Mitchell Robinson, with Karl Anthony Towns. Um, and the bottom line is they're going to have to make threes to spread San Antonio out to loosen up that, what Zach Lowe has called a one-man zone by Wembanyama. Try to get Wembanyama in foul trouble. Make Wembanyama play both ends of the court. That's something that he hasn't had to do in these playoffs at all. Like one hand, you're guarding Rudy Gobert, you didn't have to guard him. Remember, there were times in the Minnesota series where Nas Reed had some success attacking Wembanyama because he had to guard him out from 25 feet from beyond the 3-point line. Um, but against the Thunder, there was Chet Holmgren's disappearing act basically allowed Wembanyama to just focus in to just use all his rest on offense and be the basically like a free safety basically like a free safety playing that one man zone defensively. So the Knicks are going to have to make 3-point shots. They're going to absolutely have to make 3-point shots to me to win this series. I think they have to outshoot San Antonio in terms of threes, take more threes than San Antonio. And we know San Antonio can be a streaky 3-point shooting team. We know San Antonio, and when they get hot, as in Game 7 against OKC, they can blow your doors off or completely control the game. Again, I think the Knicks have an excellent chance to win this series. I'm picking the Knicks to win this series in 6 games. Again, this is not a anti-San Antonio pick. Um, San Antonio absolutely should be favored to win this series. They have home court. They have the best player. They just finished off again, winning a game 7 against a team that we thought was going to repeat, that a lot of people, including myself, thought was going to repeat, and a team that, despite the injuries they had, I still thought expected them to be in the finals and expected them to win Game 7 at home. So, and in regards to San Antonio, we can no longer talk about how young they are. When you go on the road, they have now closed out back-to-back series on the road. They destroyed Minnesota in Game 6, a good Minnesota team, and they handled their business and basically dominated. I know there were stretches where Oklahoma City got the game down to two in the fourth quarter and made a number of great comebacks over the course of the game. But San Antonio was in total control of that game, basically from start to finish. So I don't, we can't talk about how young San Antonio is anymore. That experience factor does not apply in this finals at all, in my opinion. I know the Knicks are older and have more playoff experience per se, but the Knicks haven't been in the finals. This group of the Knicks as a whole have not been in the finals either. So that experience thing is to me goes out the window. And from a Knicks standpoint, I think that I've heard that the Knicks going through the Eastern Conference the way they did doesn't carry as much weight because of the competition. I'm here to say the Eastern. I don't know if anybody watched basketball this year who make those comments, but the Eastern Conference was basically a wash with the Western Conference this year. Get past San Antonio, Oklahoma City, and San Antonio. Those two teams were the best two teams in the NBA without question. But after that, it was basically, I mean, you know, Minnesota, LA, the Lakers, Houston, none of those teams would come out the West. Would come out the East this year. Would have been coming out the East this year. None of them. Outside of San Antonio, Oklahoma City, if you put any other playoff team um, in the Eastern Conference, they're not coming out. They're not coming out. There have been past years where the discrepancy has been so large between the two conferences, where I could make a case that there were three to four to five teams that if I put took out the West, put in the Eastern Conference, that they would have a legit chance at coming out of the Eastern Conference. That is not the case. That was not the case this year. So I don't think. I think when you go out there and absolutely destroy your competition in historic fashion, is saying something. Cleveland is a very good team. Like Cleveland, like Donovan Mitchell's an All NBA player. James Harden is still a top 30 player in this league. Allen and Mobley are very good players. They have shooting. That was a very good basketball team. Atlanta is an up and coming team. Atlanta's one of the better young teams in the NBA. When you talk about that next tier that of teams that are not quite yet, of course, at championship level, but that have a lot of talent and can only get better. Atlanta's in that category. It was not a bad. That was not a team that just barely made the playoffs. That was they were a five seed, a legit five seed. So again, this ideal that we're just going to pretend like the Eastern Conference was just like the Western Conference was far superior than the East. It wasn't. Denver did not play well in the playoffs this year. Houston was horrible in the playoffs this year. Lakers were injured and got embarrassed by OKC. Or got swept. Maybe not so much embarrassed, but got toyed with by OKC. I mean, Portland and Phoenix were nothing to like those two. I mean, Portland and Phoenix were just happy to be there. I thought Orlando played better than those two teams. When you think about it, taking the number one seed to Game 7 and having a legit 3-2 lead over having a 3-1 lead on the number one seed in the conference. So I don't buy into this Eastern Conference horrible narrative. The Knicks are absolutely legit. They are absolutely legitimate. This team can win this series, can win a championship, and can absolutely win this series without question. Again, it's gonna be a fascinating series to watch with the matchups. Um, I think the Knicks, if you're the Knicks, you have ideally, obviously, the goal is to get one of these first two games, go handle your business in games three and four. Okay, you could lose game five and then wrap it up in game six. That would be the ideal setup for the Knicks. I think game one, to me, if I'm the Knicks, I'm really putting a lot of emphasis on this game one as far as wanting to set a tone for this entire series. In the last series with OKC and San Antonio sent OKC a clear message in that game one when everybody was relatively healthy, even without Fox. And especially it was more pronounced with the fact that Fox was hurt, that we have the best player series. We know not only do we think we're better than you, we know we're better than you, and the regular season was not a fluke. The Knicks during the regular season pretty much dominated the Spurs, per se. They one game the Spurs did win over the Knicks. It had Julian Champagnie had a out of body experience and he scored 36 points with knocked down 11 threes. Outside of that, the Knicks controlled the Spurs, including the last meeting they had in March, snapping the Spurs 11-game win streak and completely dominating them, especially in that fourth quarter. So if the Knicks go out there in game one and take game one, you kind of I mean, San Antonio is not, going to panic. They've been down before, in series multiple times. They've been down. They have been down they've been down against Minnesota. They were down twice against OKC in series to come back to win. But you know, you got there, your Knicks, you got there and win game one. And considering what had transpired in the regular season, it gives San Antonio some little extra to think about and put some more pressure on them to obviously go out there where game two becomes basically a must win. So I think normally I would say that the home team has more pressure on them in game one. I actually think the Knicks I think the Knicks, if you're the Knicks, you want to get this game one more so than you want to put a little bit more emphasis on this game one. Now the Knicks go out there and get their doors blown off. I'm not gonna sit up there and overreact to game one. You just go out there, get game two, and say, hey, we got our split. But if I'm the Knicks, I really want to set the tone with this game one performance. Again, I'll take the Knicks in six. I think this is going to be. It certainly wouldn't be surprised if we went seven. Um, I don't. Again, the experience factor to me is out the window. East Coast, West Coast, Western Conference thing is out the window. This was just a fun matchup. Two teams that absolutely belong here. Um, oh, the two teams have played the best in the postseason. The two teams that are seeking to make their mark historically. One with San Antonio and what they have a chance to start. Two, in terms of New York, from a standpoint of like you win a basketball championship in New York City as a Knick, takes you to a whole nother level. In terms of sports culture, New York history, New York culture, basketball culture. So there's a lot on the line in this series. Again, more pressure to win. I would say the Knicks, considering that everything has gone right for the Knicks to be at this point. You have a situation where, you know, Jason Tatum gets hurt. You didn't have to play Boston. I still think they would have beat Boston, but that's still a break that you caught uh, playing Philadelphia versus Boston. No Indiana, no Indiana. Everything was in perfect alignment for the Knicks to get to the finals. One of the reasons why James Dolan was saying finals are bust. So everything like everything is right there for the Knicks as far as winning a championship. I do get a sense that this is kind of like uh I would say like 2011 Mavericks. Like we needed like everything. Now the Mavericks had a much more difficult road and had a much more difficult road as far as the level of competition that they beat. I mean, they go through, you go through Kobe Bryant, they went through Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and then um, Miami, the big three, the Heatles in the finals. But it felt like you go back to 2011, and Mavericks fans probably would agree with this. It felt like it had to happen that year. Like if it wasn't going to happen that year, then it just wasn't going to happen. You needed to catch the heat. You were catching it similar to San Antonio. The Heat were in their first year together, being in the finals, even though LeBron James and Dwayne Wade had previous finals experience before that, but that was their first year. There still wasn't a defined roles. Roles were still not defined on the team with the Heat between Wade and LeBron James. At that time, Wade was still a top five player, and LeBron's the best player in the world by then, but he still hadn't put his signature on that franchise as being the guy in Miami, and they paid the price. Dallas played well, got hot with their role players in that series, and ended up, frankly, ended up outplaying Miami and taking them out in 6 games. I kind of get that sense with the Knicks, that the Knicks have to win it this year. That this will be absolutely the best chance for the Knicks to win a championship. Now, again, I'm not saying that the Knicks don't win it this year, that they will are going to go away next year and fall back into being not irrelevant. No, they'll still be a very good team, but this may be this. You get a sense that this is their best bet uh, to win a championship moving forward. And if you're San Antonio, listen, you can. I don't like the term house money when it comes to a championship. So many things happen in sports, injuries, situations, things change quickly. You San Antonio, you have the best player, you have home court advantage. So this is a golden opportunity for you to establish yourself as the team in the NBA, as the franchise in the NBA. You come up short now. Oklahoma City will be back next year. Period. We'll talk more about that, but they absolutely will be back next year. Nothing is not guaranteed that if you're San Antonio that you're going to win a championship next year. Right? Not by any stretch of imagination. You're going to be around for a long time, but when you have this, you have everything right in front of you. I think listen, I think San Antonio, even though I'm picking the Knicks, I think San Antonio is slightly better. They have the best player, and they have home court. They have Game 7 at home, so it's a golden opportunity for the San Antonio Spurs to stamp themselves as the team in the NBA now and also moving forward. I'm not going to make a mistake and crown them a dynasty like we have the last 4 to 5 NBA champions. When you going back to the 2021 Milwaukee Bucks, everybody's been crowned a dynasty after they've won a championship the last 5 years. And again, San Antonio is in the best position to kind of make that come out to kind of to probably to get to possibly get that done. But things change in the NBA fast. You never know what's going to happen. Well, who's going to be traded and what so have you. But this could be the beginning of an era of basketball where of dominance by a team um, who again amazingly is here already. It is remarkable that the Spurs, who 2 years ago lost 60 games who last year didn't even make, only won 34 games. When Miami gets hurt, uh, and was out, missed the majority of the season with the blood clots the last couple months. The fact that if you had told me that they would be in the finals, I would just before the season, I would have laughed at you. Like, there's no way that they will get this good this fast. That there's no way that this team is. They're at least 2 years away. Like this year, I thought they would be in the playoffs. Next year, I thought they could possibly contend. But the idea that they are favorites, that they will be the favorites to win the championship right now, considering where they were at last year or just 2 years ago, is really one of the most remarkable ascensions that we've ever seen. Like everything about basketball, the Spurs, I like again. I'm picking the Knicks to win this series, but I'm not again. I'm not. This is not a anti San Antonio pick. Not biased. I believe in the Spurs. The Spurs totally have just annihilated what I've had to watch for like the last 35 to 40 years of what I thought basketball in terms of steps of progression, in terms of getting your playoff lumps. They have completely just wiped that away. Completely wiped that away. And there's no, like I said, there's no comp in my lifetime of seeing this. I didn't like the '86. I mean, the '86 Rockets. That was Hakeem's second year, but I don't. That team wasn't this young. I mean, you look at what Shaquille O'Neal did, what Shaq did with Orlando. He gets to the finals his third year in the league. But if you remember, the year before that they had lost in the first round. They got swept in the first round by the Indiana Pacers. So they at least had that experience, that playoff experience. This Spurs team, again, outside De'Aaron Fox, I know they got guys, Luke Cornett and uh, Harrison Barnes, but their core group had no playoff experience, had nothing coming into this season. Zero playoff experience. So again, this is one of the more remarkable ascensions that we've ever seen in the history of the sport. And as far as Victor Wembanyama is, 22 years old, being the best player on a team to make it to the finals and have a legit chance of winning. We haven't seen that since like Bill Russell. Never. LeBron took the Cavaliers to the finals at 22. They had no chance to win that series against San Antonio. None. Zero. Magic with the Lakers, yes, he was a rookie at, I think, at 20, but Kareem was the best player in the world, and Kareem should have been the MVP of that series. So, yeah, Magic was the biggest personality, but he was not the best player on that team. Again, Kobe Bryant at 21 with the 2000 Lakers, Shaq was the dominant player on that team. Kobe was the number two, clear cut, the clear number two. So we don't see this out of young players. Most of, I mean, more times than not, a player of a number one pick, a player of Victor Wembanyama's caliber is on a shitty team for at least one minimum 2 years. The deep dive. The Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, we're hoping to repeat. We're hoping to snap uh, what now will be 8 straight years since the last time we saw a team repeat the 17-18 Golden State Warriors, that super team that they had. Listen, Oklahoma City. So there's been a lot of talk about Oklahoma City. Um, like I said earlier in the podcast, the narrative of the flopping, the narrative of the anti-Oklahoma City has become even it's just become the discourse has just become ridiculous and just toxic to say the least. Like I'm actually tired of hearing about the complaining in regards to Oklahoma City to a point to where you have people questioning uh, will they can they get back to can they win another championship or calling them a fluke and saying all these things um, that just that just are completely just untrue and ridiculous. Listen, Oklahoma City. Let me tell you how good Oklahoma City is. Oklahoma City took a tremendous Spur team to 7 games without two of their four best players and their second and third best shot creator in Jalen Williams and AJ Mitchell. On top of that, their superstar MVP had a C plus B minus series at best, and their third best player was a complete no show. Based 10 points and 7 rebounds a game, had 4 points it only took 2 shots in game 7. So despite all of that, despite all of that, it still took the Spurs 7 games to beat OKC. OKC is a top tier, top run franchise. They are a tremendous basketball team. And you don't win as many games as they've won over the past 2 years um, without being a big time team. They ran into their kryptonite. They ran into a team that had the athletes, had the youth, they had the right mentality in order to take them out. But I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that if you're telling me this time next year, we're talking about Oklahoma City back in the finals, wouldn't you shouldn't be the least bit surprised if that is the case. This franchise is not going anywhere. Um, they have some decisions to make in regards to their personnel. Um, if I'm Oklahoma City, the first thing I'm not doing is I'm not trading for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It To me, it is a panic move. It's a move that they frankly don't have to make, and frankly, I don't think will make. Again, taking into financial considerations of this trade, of what will have to transpire with this trade, Oklahoma City is in the second apron. Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren's extensions are just kicked in. They both are at max extensions for $41 million. In order for Oklahoma City to be in a position to where they can financially make a move to get Giannis, they would have to shed $98 million before you even talk about the players that you have to give up. They have to shed $98 million. That means bye bye Hardenstein, bye bye Lou Dort, Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, probably Caruso. So you shed all that money, you get a guy back in Giannis, and I mean there's no bigger Giannis fan than me, but the guy's been he has been injury. He has had a hard time staying on the court the last 3 to 4 years. He'll be 32 in September. Again, this is not how Oklahoma City moves. This is not how Sam Presti moves. You don't panic because you lost to a another powerhouse superpower team who quite possibly could have the best player on the world on their team. You don't panic. Um, I remember years when the Spurs were in the midst of their run. There were at least 3 or 4 times where the Spurs could have panicked. The Spurs win a championship in a lockout shortened season in '99 over the Knicks. Next thing you know, Shaq and Kobe completely take over the league and win three straight championships, including going 8-1 against the Spurs in 2001 and 2002. Did they trade Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, or did they try to move David Robinson? No. They made a couple tweaks and they won a championship in 2003. 2004, the Derek Fisher shot. Devastating loss for the Spurs. Devastating. Popovich will tell you that was one of the toughest Spur losses of his career by far in terms of playoff series. Because that team, that Spur team, absolutely could have won the championship. And then to watch the Lakers absolutely get waxed by Detroit made it even that much tougher. Panic? No. Come back next year, 2005, win a championship, take out Detroit in 7 games. 2006, you lose in the conference semifinals in one of the best playoff series, probably of not only of that decade, but probably of the 21st century. The 21st century, to be honest with you, that Dallas series, that epic Dallas series, uh, Game 7 at home in overtime. Dirk Nowitzki plays great. Tim Duncan was great in that series. Again, tough loss to your rival, a very good Dallas team, but no panic. Come back, win the championship in 2007. Then you have a down period for the Spurs. You're still winning 50 games a year, but you don't reach the finals. You go basically 5 years without making the finals. From '08, you lose in conference finals to the Lakers. Um, 2009, I believe they lost to I want to say Denver or New Orleans. 2010, you got swept by Phoenix in the second round. 2011, a 60-win Spur team gets knocked out in the first round by Memphis. Then you get to conference finals, blow a 2-0 lead against a young up and coming Oklahoma City team. Then 2013, the Ray Allen shot in Game 6, which again another devastating loss for the Spurs. Devastating loss. They had the trophy presentation ready. Ray Allen makes a shot. Chris Bosh is, Tim Duncan was off the floor. We all know what happened in Game 7. Spurs come back, win a championship in 2014. So I say all that to say that Sam Presti, and Presti was with San Antonio from 2000 2007. The Thunder are not going to panic. They'll, you get some shooting, you make a couple moves around the margins, but more importantly, you have a conversation with Chet Holmgren. And if you are a top-notch team, top-notch organization, culture, etc., this is what this is where that comes into play with fixing a player. Chet Holmgren is not a horrible basketball player. Contrary to what you saw the last 2 weeks and what he looked like against Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren is an all-star caliber player. He's an all NBA caliber player. He's a guy that there are not too many Chet Holmgrens in the NBA. Guys that can shoot and defend the rim and defend at the level he can defend at. Trading Chet Holmgren to me, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't trade. I don't think that a guy who's 25 years old who can absolutely get better, like there are ways you can fix his release to make his 3-point release quicker. And again, you have to have an honest conversation with Chet Holmgren about what transpired in that Western Conference final and how we can fix it moving forward. That has to be a real conversation. Whereas with Chet Holmgren, the SGA, Chet Holmgren and Dagnall, Chet Holmgren and Sam Presti, but that is what they have a family atmosphere there. They have a great culture. That is what culture is. That's what culture. That's what that culture is all about. So Oklahoma City will be fine. Um, they are not. I again, that team. Even they're gonna have to make some decisions. They'll probably lose Lou Dort. They'll probably trade guys like Wiggins and Isaiah Joe, but they also will be coming back with a just tremendous core. McCain for a full year. Casey Wallace is a going to be a much better version of Lou Dort. Um, if you're SGA, you got to find a way to get, I think, more uh, easier shots. Like that, if you're SGA, you have to become a better 3-point shooter. You have to find a way to generate easier shots for your not only for your you know you could do that for your teammates, but for yourself. So we'll see what happens. Maybe the only trade stuff again, I think they'll make some small trades. Where they possibly trade up. They have two first round picks. So you might see it might be a situation they have 12 and 17 where they could package that and try to get into the top 10 for a player that they really like. So you'll see some moves like that. But I don't. I would say now the one move that I think that they have to make internally would to be to get rid of Lou Dort and keep Hardenstein. I think you have to keep Hardenstein at this point. I think Hardenstein really played well against San Antonio. He showed he was effective at times against Victor Wembanyama. Really challenged Victor physically. You love his toughness. He's an excellent rebounder, especially at times on the offensive rebound, on the offensive boards. So you can never have enough quality bigs facing off against Wembanyama or Joker for that matter. When you talk about the whole landscape of the Western Conference. My thoughts. A lot of stuff went on this week. This was a week of as a sports and pop culture fan, this was it was like Thanksgiving dinner. It was one thing after another. So let's begin with Jay Z. Jay Z went to the root. It was of course at the Roots picnic. He comes out there, picks his hair out. He's Afro Jay Z. Picks the locks out. Grew out the locks for like 8 years, and he had a lot to get off his mind. I don't care about the Dame Dash, Nicki Minaj, Eskimo, those are that was light work. I don't care about what he had to say about them per se. Who like seriously, the bars that resonated the most were, of course, against one Aubrey Graham. Um, Jay Z basically, basically flips Drake's line about the jig is up. Basically, you can't see me. Like your numbers, you got numbers, cool, but we're not in the same category. Like they're basically telling Drake that there are levels to this. I have never looked up. No one. I have never looked up to you. Like, yeah, this is. I am still Jay Z, and you think about what the motivation is behind this. Not so much the retort to Drake, but this. And I mentioned this about a couple months ago, about a month ago on a podcast, about one thinking about what Jay Z's end goal is for um, for 2026 and also moving forward. If you're Jay Z, clearly another album is coming before the end of the year. I think that goes without saying. But if you're Jay Z, what challenges you at this standpoint in your career from a artistic standpoint, from as an artist? Sold countless records, won every award, and to me, this version of Jay Z it's the competition. You have this artist in Drake who people have put on your level. Okay, people say Jay-Z, Drake is like the Jay-Z of this era as far as the popularity, being a number one guy, record sales, all that stuff. Drake is doing all these numbers on the charts and what have you. And you say to yourself, there are people who actually think that this dude is better than me or is even can see me. And Jay-Z, again, forget it, let's put aside the billionaire Jay-Z, the mogul, the global icon that Jay Z is as a businessman. At Jay Z's core, at his core, he is a competitive motherfucker as a rapper. And somewhere along the line, the last couple years, couple months, or maybe a couple years, he probably said to himself, "I had enough of this. I've had enough of Drake of all Big Graham. I had enough of this dude. I've had enough of him." So not only am I going to own the summer with what I'm doing at Yankee Stadium in July or in June, or I think was that show is I believe that show's in late June, early July. I think it's in July. Not only I'm going to own the summer, I'm going to come out an album and own the year, and I'm going to take back my perch as the top guy at the age of 56. So I think Jay Z is like I think the motivation is to be like, yeah, like no, you really forgot who I was. Not only to Drake stands, to Drake fans, like, no, this is who I am. I'm going to show you who I am. You thought you know me? No, no, no. You don't. You haven't seen this version of me. You haven't seen this version of me. We done songs together. You try to play like in typical Drake. Drake is such a fake and a piece of shit as just he's so phony and so contractual. I would like if you're Drake, you've done songs with Jay Z, and you still want to take shots at him. You believe that that he was a part of the conspiracy to kind of like put you on the shelf and whatever. Some of it might have been true. Maybe I wouldn't put it past Jay Z. You obviously the Kendrick thing bothers Drake, but that ultimately was great business. Like, yes, we're going to. If I'm Jay Z, is you can call Jay Z a lot of things. The one thing he's not is stupid, and he understands how to. He understands how. He understands marketing, branding, and all that good shit. And put it on Kendrick on the Super Bowl was just a smart business move. Minus what transpired with that beef. That was just like, yes, he's Kendrick is the guy right now. So I'm going to. It was obviously an easy choice. But this is Jay Z saying to Kendrick, excuse me, saying to Drake, you don't know me. You really don't know me. And I don't think the average Drake fan or the average hip hop fan under the age of 40, under the age of 40, has no clue how diabolical, how much of a chess master and how competitive Jay Z Sean Carter is. I don't think you just don't understand it. Like you would literally have to grow up watching Jay Z and watching how he's moved over the course of his career to fully understand how he works. So I think I like I didn't think that even after what had transpired over the weekend, I was like, is he gonna really engage Drake like that moving forward? Now I'm fully convinced that the shit is on now. Now I think that before the end of the summer, that we're gonna have an all-out battle between Jay Z and Drake. I think it's coming. I think it's going to happen. And in terms of in terms of who's going to call who by name first, I could easily, like before I thought it would probably be Drake, but now I could easily see Jay Z throwing down the gauntlet and calling Drake out by name in a rap or at Yankee Stadium. I could easily see him did it. He did remember Summer Jam 2001. He Nas the one who called him out straight up by name. Then that shit had been going on for years, like almost the Nas Jay Z thing had been going on for at least 5 years before that. Those subliminals they have been thrown at each other, especially from Jay Z. So don't be surprised at Yankee Stadium he calls Drake out by name, and then Drake basically will have no choice but to respond. And listen, Drake has. I know he's taken two L's in battles to Pusha T and Kendrick. But Drake can listen. Drake has proven he could be. Drake has proven to himself to be more than a formidable battle rapper. You can say a lot of things about Drake. I'm not the biggest Drake fan, but he ain't. He's not scared to battle to go at to go at in a battle. He would lose this battle, but you can never accuse Drake of being scared in a battle. But I think this is where Jay Z is at right now. This brings out the competitive in him. I think he's at this stage in his career where like listen, I'm a billionaire. I can do my business when I'm done rapping. As long as I have still have something to say as a rapper, this is where I'm at right now. It's just not enough with making an album. I have to send a message to this dude. I have to really send a message to this dude in a real way. Speaking of messages, the Los Angeles Rams sent the message to the rest of the NFL that we are here to win. To win, we are coming for this championship right here, right now. They acquire defensive player of the year, two-time defensive player of the year, Miles Garrett. They trade Jared Verse, a 27 second first round pick, a 28 second round pick, um, along with the trade Verse, a 27 first round pick, a 28 second round pick, and a 29 third round pick to get the most dominant defensive player we've seen, along with Aaron Donald, the most dominant defensive player that we've seen in over a decade. Outside of Aaron Donald, probably the most dominant defensive player that we've seen maybe in a generation. He's that game changing of a player. You put him in that culture. They of course they tried. This is the Rams redoing 2001 all over again when they traded for Matthew Stafford, when they signed Jalen Ramsey, um, and they went all in, won a Super Bowl in Los Angeles at SoFi, their home stadium. The Super Bowl again will be at SoFi this year as well. They get Trent McDuffie. You re-sign, of course, Matthew Stafford for a 2-year deal, and you come in and get Miles Garrett. And this is how the Rams move. Uh, I think that this is a move that this is an absolute no brainer for the Rams to make. Like you can't. I don't like the compensation was fine. I like that first round pick. The Rams have proven themselves. The Rams have shown to have been the one franchise that has still been able to play at a high level and be a consistent franchise without having first round picks. They have nailed the draft in these late rounds in particular. Um, and I like this guy on this team with that offense is going to be terrifying for the NFL because the Rams are going to score points. They're going to be playing ahead. A lot of these games they're going to be playing from ahead, and you're playing from ahead, and with that pass rush, it just like is again it is absolutely terrifying for the rest of for the rest of the league. Obviously, they are the Super Bowl favorites. Again, especially we talked about nothing being guaranteed in the NBA. Definitely, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL. In the NFL. But listen, man, you're gonna be hard pressed to beat that football team with that dude playing defense. Like you're gonna be hard pressed. Like last year, if they don't even have to be on the same level offensively last year to win. Their defense, you just added a top cornerback and added the best defensive player in football, period, point blank. Um, so as far as the Browns go, listen, it was really like what are you doing with Miles Garrett if your team you have no quarterback? You might as well. This is the perfect time to trade him when he has a ton of value. Jared Verse is what 24 years old. He's a very good player. Borderline, I think Jared Verse can be a perennial Pro Bowl player. Can be like a five-time Pro Bowl player. Make a couple All Pro teams and a very young, talented pass rusher in his own sense, in his own right. Very athletic, has had two excellent years to start out his career. Was better in 24 than he was this past year, but still, I like Jabbers a lot. And you get and listen, you get an extra first round pick, so you'll have two first round picks in 27, and you'll have multiple second round picks in 28. So I think that this is probably the best compensation that you were going to get. I didn't see too many other teams willing to give up that much more to get Miles Garrett. And it was time. It was time. It was time for them to move on to transition to the next stage of their franchise. You have an extra first round pick. Next year is going to be a quarter. Should be next year is expected to be a strong quarterback draft. Because clearly, again, all due respect to Shedeur Sanders, they don't know who their long term starting quarterback is going to be right now. They don't have that guy on their roster. They just don't. AJ Brown goes to the Pats, to the Patriots. So the soap opera is over in Philadelphia. Obviously, no one is surprised by this at all. And here's what I'll say about this. This was not a situation. We've had a There's been situations with receivers in the past decade, maybe the past 15, 20 years, where it was like, yo, like, yeah, you had to get that guy out of there. Like, it was just like, yeah, he had to go. I didn't, I didn't believe that this was that with the AJ Brown situation. I understand AJ Brown ran his mouth a lot this season, um, but he was right in terms of what AJ Brown was saying. He was not wrong. The offense was not up to par. The passing game was not up to par. And it came back and bit them in the ass. And they had an absolute embarrassing loss against a beat up, broken down San Francisco 49er team. A game that the Philadelphia Eagles had no business losing. So you can get rid of AJ Brown. They drafted a receiver this year in the first round. This year, the kid out Lemon out of UNC. You sure Devontae Smith. All eyes on one Jalen Hurts right now. All eyes on Jalen Hurts, period, point blank. Because the quiet part out loud was that Jalen Hurts was the problem with that offense. That that offense, in order for that offense to be effective, you had to have a all-time great running game, a by far the best offensive line football in order for that offense to look like anything like it did in 24. And even in 24, it was, there were spots where got inconsistent. They got hot and, took off towards the latter part of the season. But to me, all eyes on Jalen Hurts. Now, eh, I give the Eagles the benefit of doubt. They are a top organization. If they felt like but I'm not going to sit there and say they're a better team than they. This was not an addition by subtraction. This was just subtraction. And again, everything I followed the situation very closely this year with the Eagles. Watched their post games, the whole bit. I never got the sense that AJ Brown was considered to be a cancer in the locker room. I never got that. I never got that. I didn't hear other guys talking shit about AJ Brown. So you gotta keep that in mind. And again, it makes perfect sense for New England. They lose Stephon Diggs, get rid of Stephon Diggs. AJ Brown at this stage of his career is better than Stephon Diggs. I don't think. Listen, I still think AJ Brown, when utilized correctly, can be a top five receiver. I still think he has that type of ability. I don't think AJ Brown's at the point where he's cooked or washed by any stretch of imagination. I think he will flourish with the Patriots. He's gonna have something to prove. He's got a excellent young quarterback to throw him the ball, who's very good. Who's very good, and loves to go down the field. And it's what it is. I think. Listen, I think the Eagles they made their choice, but I'm not here to say that this was addition by subtraction or that the Eagles are a better football team or better now than what they were like 3 years ago. I cannot definitively say that. Again, all eyes on Jalen Hurts. Period. The last bit of news before I let you go: Serena Williams, 23-time Grand Slam winner, has decided to return to tennis after a 4-year hiatus. Serena last played in 2022. She last won her last Grand Slam in 2017. She's 44 years old. Um, a little confused about this one, to be honest with you. I did not expect this. I'm borderline on being shocked that Serena decided to come back. Listen, when she was on her way out, it did not end well, to say the least. She lost her last four Grand Slam finals matches, all in straight sets. There's a number of young, talented players on top of the women's game. There hasn't been one dominant player. So I'm guessing. I'm trying to think about what the motivation is for Serena uh, at this point in her career. Her legacy is set in stone as the greatest women's tennis player of all time. Maybe arguably in conversation for greatest tennis player of all time, man or woman. Um, does she believe she can win majors again? Because to me, if you don't believe, if you're not, if you're Serena Williams and you're not out here competing for major championships, I don't know why else would you even remotely want to come back? It's definitely not the money. Um, this one caught me off guard. I really was taken back by this. 44 again. She's 44 years old. I understand that Djokovic, Federer, and they'd all kind of redefine what aging and in terms of men's tennis, in terms of playing into their 30s. The key word is 30s. You're talking about someone who is will be 45 soon. playing against basically a bunch of 20-year, 20, 25-year olds. It'll be interesting to see. I don't particularly understand the motivation for Serena. There's no Drake in women's tennis. If I if I compare that what she's doing with what Jay-Z kind of is doing right now, there's no one yet. There's no dominant woman that tennis player right now that I see that she would feel like she needs to prove herself against, that say I'm better than her, or I can still that I want to be number one again. Unless it's again, unless it's just flat out that she just had an urge, itch to scratch, and didn't go out on her terms the way she wanted to go out. Unless it's that type of situation, I don't understand why she's playing. Why she's playing. Tennis is like tennis is a brutal sport physically. It's a brutal sport. You have to be. There's no there's no half measures with tennis as far as training and as far as you gotta be all in. If you're gonna play professional tennis, like you can't be. There's no semi-retirement. You're either in or you're out. You're either retired or you're not. So it's hard for me to. And Serena has a lot of pride. A lot of pride. It's hard for me to see Serena Williams get on that court and be getting her ass kicked and getting eliminated in first rounds left and right, and her being accepting of that. I feel like if she's coming back thinking that, hey, I could still go out there and win major championships. Otherwise, I don't. Otherwise, it just makes no sense to me, to be honest with you. We'll see what happens. Certainly, I mean, as far as for women's tennis, it's like you can't ask for a better week if you're women's tennis as far as the attention that is going to draw to the sport. That goes without saying. The winner definitely women's tennis in general, women's tennis in particular, definitely won this week with that announcement. But I don't know what the motivation is exactly for one Serena Williams, but we shall see, and we'll see. She probably is going to play Wimbledon. I would think that she's going to play Wimbledon. Like I can't see her coming back to Queens Club and not playing Wimbledon. Um, Definitely, she'll definitely be a part of the hardcore season and go, try to go out there and try to win the play in the U.S. Open for sure. But I don't see her coming back to the Queens Club and not playing Wimbledon, which is not that far, just a couple weeks away. That's going to wrap it up for this latest edition of the Real Deal podcast. I will talk to you next time. We will be doing a lot of stuff with the NBA Finals. We'll probably do some post game shows later as the series goes on. So I will talk to you later on in the week. So long.